Hello everyone, are you preparing for KVS or NVS geography interview? In this video, I provide comprehensive professional answers to the top 20 questions frequently asked in the KVS or NVS school interviews. So the first question is, what is the fundamental difference between the environmental determinism and possibilism? So the professional answer will be like this. Determinism suggests that human actions are controlled by the environment. Possibilism, as suggested by Lucien Febvre, states that environment provides opportunities and humans choose how to use them. For example, in a desert, determinism dictates low activity. But humans in Dubai used technology to build modern city, illustrating possibilism. So the next question, why do we call the Big Bang theory the most accepted model for the origin of the universe? So we can answer like this. It is based on the expanding universe hypothesis. Edwin Hubble proved that galaxies are moving away from each other, increasing the distance over time. Imagine dots on a balloon. As you blow air, the dots move apart. This expansion justifies the theory's core concept. So the next question, explain the shadow zone of P and S waves and its significance. So P waves are longitudinal and pass through all mediums but refract at the core mental boundary, that is 105 degree to 145 degree. S waves are transverse and cannot pass through liquid, creating a massive shadow zone beyond 105 degree. This provides the outer core is the liquid. Without this seismic evidence, we wouldn't know the internal structure of the earth. So the next question is, how does the plate tectonics theory improve upon the continental rift? So continental rift, or Wegener suggested that continents flow through oceans. Plate tectonics explain that the entire lithospheric, that is also crust and upper mantle, moves as plates over the asthenosphere. While Wegener only had evidence of matching coastlines, tectonics explains the mechanism through seafloor spreading. Next question, what is isostasy and how does it maintain Earth's balance? So it is the state of mechanical equilibrium between the lithosphere and asthenosphere. Mountains stay afloat because they have deep roots similar to an iceberg. For example, if a mountain erodes, the crust rises locally to compensate, a process called isostatic rebound. Next question, distinguish between weathering and erosion. Weathering is an in situ process of rock disintegration. Erosion is a dynamic process involving transportation of weathered material by agents like water or wind. For example, a rock breaking into pieces due to frost action is weathering. Those pieces being carried away by a river is erosion. Next question, explain the normal lapse rate and why it's crucial for climatology. It is the decrease in temperature with increasing altitude in the troposphere at a rate of 6.5 degrees Celsius per 1000 meter. This is why the hill stations like Shimla are colder than the plains of Delhi, even they are at the same latitude. The next question, what is Coriolis force and its effect on global wind patterns? Coriolis force is an apparent force caused by Earth's rotation. It deflects winds to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere according to Ferrel's law. This force is responsible for the cyclonic rotation or counterclockwise in the north and clockwise in the south. Why are most of the world's hot deserts located on the western margins of the continents? This is due to the presence of subtropical high pressure belts, that is descending dry air and cold ocean currents on the western coasts. The Atacama Desert is dry because the cold Humboldt current prevents moisture from forming rain. Next question, what do you mean by temperature inversion? Usually temperature decreases with height, but in inversion warm air lies over the cold air. It happens on clear, calm winter nights. This causes smog in cities like Delhi during winter, as the cold air traps pollutants near the surface. Next question, how do ocean currents regulate the global climate? They act as a conveyor belt, moving warm water from the equator to the poles and cold water back, maintaining thermal balance. The North Atlantic Drift keeps the ports of northwestern Europe ice-free even in peak winter. Next question, explain the salinity variations in the Dead Sea. Salinity depends on the rate of evaporation and freshwater inflow. In landlocked seas with high evaporation and no river inflow, salinity is extreme. For example, the Dead Sea has a high density, that is 342 gram per kg, allowing people to float easily due to high buoyancy. Next question, what is sustainable development in the context of resource geography? So, it means meeting the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, according to Brundtland report. For example, using solar energy instead of coal is a move towards sustainability, as it preserves the environment. Next question, define the demographic transition theory. It describes the shift from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates as a society progresses from rural agrarian to urban industrial. India is currently stage 3, where death rate has fallen sharply, but the birth rate is also beginning to decline. Next question, why is intensive subsistence agriculture common in monsoon Asia? Due to high population density, farmers use small land holdings to produce maximum output for local consumption, often using manual labor. Rice cultivation in West Bengal is a classic example where every inch of land is utilized. Next question, what are the characteristics of central place theory of Chrysler? It explains the size and distribution of settlement based on threshold or minimum people needed and the range or distance people travel. For example, you travel 500 meter for bread, that is low range, but 50 kilometer for a specialized hospital, that is high range or a higher order center. Explain the location triangle of Alfred Weber. It is a model to find the least cost location for an industry based on the weight of raw materials and finished products. For example, iron and steel plants are located near mines because the raw materials are weight losing. Next question, what is the significance of the Suez Canal in world trade? It connects the Mediterranean Sea and to the Red Sea, reducing the sea route between Europe and South Asia by about 7,000 kilometers. It transformed global logistics by avoiding the long journey around the Cape of Good Hope. Next question, why is the standard meridian of India, that is 80 degree and 30 minute east, is chosen? So the answer will be like this: India has a longitudinal extent of nearly 30 degree, causing a 2-hour time gap. The central meridian was chosen to have a uniform Indian standard time. For example, without IST, the sunrise in Arunachal Pradesh and Gujarat would have confusingly different clock times for the same activities. So the next and last questions for today is, how does the monsoon work according to the dynamic concept or Fon concept? It suggests that monsoons are caused by the seasonal shift of intertropical convergence zones towards the north and south. In summer, the ITCZ moves over the Himalayas, creating a low pressure zone that pulls moisture laden winds from the Indian Ocean. So this is for today. Thank you for listening. Thanks.